Going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and today we're going to be taking a look at some hash rates on the CMP 100-210 on ALEO. Alright, so I do know there's been multiple hash rate tests of this GPU on ALEO, but that was done before, everyone really understood how ALEO worked. What I mean by that is, you turn it on, you see some hash rates, call it good, and that's the way she works. Now with ALEO, you actually need 24-hour averages to actually see how well this card is performing. So I'm going to kind of show you the difference between the 24-hour average and all the hash rates you've previously seen. Now, before we get into all the mumbo jumbo, I know you guys are probably already in the comment section screaming at me saying, Rabid, you are cooling this card all wrong. And yes, technically I am, but guess what? I live in Canada. I don't really care right now because this card running it this way on this test bench is only running like 38 degrees, so I'm all good. Now, if you were in a much warmer climate or it was summertime or something, obviously you're going to want to take the fans and put them on this end of the GPU here where, say, you would normally have your GPU ports and stuff for display. Obviously, this is a CMP card. It's stripped clean. You don't have those type of outputs on this type of GPU, but you are going to want the airflow to move in this way. It will run cooler. You're also going to want to run some tape around it as well in this area right here. So right here you can see there's a little gap in here. So it's good to run some tape in here. That way you can kind of direct that airflow straight into the card and through the heat sink here and out the back here. But you can see here I do have it backwards right now just because it was easier to set up and I didn't have any issues with temperatures. But then again, it is starting to hit freezing temperatures overnight and stuff. So I'm all good in my part of the country here, but depending where you are, if you live in a desert or something, you're obviously going to want to put it this way over here and tape that up so you get proper airflow through this card. So a couple other things you should know about this card if you are unaware. It actually has a 12-volt EPS plug, which is pretty much the same plug as your CPU would use on a motherboard or something. So you actually, if you do get these cards through respec, it does come with the splitter here, which goes down to 2 PCI Express, which will be needed for a majority of your power supplies out there. Another thing is they're getting kind of hard to get. I will have a link down in the description to respec, but you can no longer buy them from them directly. You're actually going to trade in your GPUs for gaming, so regular GPUs, in order to get the CMP card. So if that's something you're looking to do, you can check that link down in the description. And as for my testing here, I mentioned I did run about 3 different overclock settings for at least 24 hours on each. I'm using my power at the wall over there, but I also used one of these ALEO Labs just to kind of see what it was saying, and for the most part this was saying about 80 to 88 watts depending on what I was actually using. But I like to get my power at the wall because the power company doesn't care what ALEO Labs tells you, because you do have to account your PSU efficiency when looking at your power as well. So take that in mind, where ALEO Labs is actually running before the power supply and at 100% efficiency. All right, so here are the numbers that I got. So here's the CMP 100-210. This does cost, when I purchased it was around $149.87 USD here, and these are the 3 overclock settings I did use. So one was 1260 core, 300 offset, 5001 memory. The other one was 1470 core, 300 offset, 5001 memory, and then 1260 core, 300 offset, and 300 memory. And here are hash rates here. So my average hash rate on them all, so this is the first one here, 24-hour average is 240.45 kilohash at the 1260, 300, 5001 memory. When I did run the 1470 core with the 5001 memory here, I was up in the hash rate at 286.43. And then on the standard one, which was the most efficient here, which seems to be the most popular overclock settings for this GPU, we're only about 231. Now, I do see a lot of people testing this and they are showing over 300 kilohash, which is true. This did hit on the high end of about 326 kilohash with this overclock settings. I was actually at 419 kilohash on the 1470 core, and that was upwards of 380 kilohash on the 1260 with 5001 memory. But keep in mind, we also hit lows here of 119, 173, and 127, and over a full full 24 hours, this is the actual hash rate that you're going to be getting, which is quite a bit lower than the over 300 kilohash that a lot of numbers I've been seeing. Now, coming into the power here, as the hash rate fluctuates, so did that power. As mentioned, I did see anywhere from 80 to about 88 watts on the Elmore Labs meter. That was for this, the 80 watts. Here I was using ZK Pool. If you want to know the pool I was using, it does sound like F2 Pool. Their own miner there does use more power and does do different things than ZK Pool. But I like ZK Pool, and that's why I rocked these numbers here. Anyway, you can see here from 80 watts on Elmore, I was at 88.5 upwards to 97.3 watts. On the 1470 core, 5001 memory, I was at 128.6 watts and 135.6 on the high end. And then on the 1260 300 offset 5001 memory, we were 98.3 watts on the low and upwards to 105.3. So this actually fluctuated pretty fast. Every 4 to 5 seconds, I would say it would go all the way up to the high and back down to the low. So it was constantly going back and forth a lot of the time. It wasn't just when the hash rate was changing. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Then here you can see the efficiency of kilohash per watt. Or actually, this should be more like hash per watt. I don't know why I have a K there, but it is. But this is actually hash to watt, which means, example here, for 88.5 watts at the 231.26 average kilohash, we're doing 2.61 hashes per 1 watt of power used, which is obviously pretty good efficiency. Now, comparing that to something like an RTX 4090, which is around 300 watts. I don't have this tested completely. It is in my workstation. Software says about 285 watts or so, so I just upped it to about 300 watts, but that's actually an efficiency of 4.93, so over double the efficiency of what this card is. Keep in mind, this power is also without any type of fan power involved as well. You are going to have to cool this, but most people are putting Octa miners and stuff, and that kind of accounts for, you know, everything there. But this fan, when it is cranked up, it is about 10 watts, so keep that in mind. You're going to actually have to add this onto that as well. And then when it comes to price per kilohash, based on 149.87 cents here for this GPU, looking at the most efficient setting, that is about 64 cents per kilohash that you're paying for ALEO. ALEO here is going to disappear here over the next couple months when ASICs do hit, but that's obviously a lot cheaper than previously of what the 4090 is costing you, around $1.08 per kilohash here. So it is coming in nice and budget, but again, just like a gold shell miner, they don't really compete when it does come to the efficiency. Now, where this GPU really does shine is coming into the memory, as it has HBM2 memory, about 16 gigabytes worth. This really shines on memory intensive algorithms. So that would be, I guess, Carlson, since it went to Fish Ass, Ironfish here, and Ergo, and as well as Block X. So I'm going to try those coins next. Let me know if you guys have already seen numbers on that, or if you even want to see me tested on that. But I am going to try those next, because where this card does shine and where the advantage is over the 4000 series is memory based coins. That is until probably 5090s come at least, so it's still up in the air to see how that does, but obviously that's going to come in with a much bigger price tag. But again, keep in mind, ALEO is a core based coin, and this GPU is built and designed for on that memory based coins. And just to kind of point that in the light here, as you know, it doesn't look that bad. Okay, 231 versus 326 kilohash. Sure, it's, you know, about 100 kilohash less, no 90 something, not exactly 100. And, you know, 80 watts to 88.5 to 97. It's not a huge difference, but where the numbers really do matter is if you actually try building a huge rig out of this. So here are some numbers here. So a 6x rig based on the high end of around 326 kilohash, which are a lot of the numbers I've seen out there, and only 80 watts, that should point you out. If you were to build a 6-card rig, you should get about 1.956 megahash at 480 watts. So that seems like pretty freaking awesome here. But in reality, based on my testing here, you're actually only going to get 1.38 megahash at 531 to 583 watts. So you're doing slightly less, actually about on par as a 4090, but you're almost double the power for 6 rigs. And it comes to the same thing when I turn on my 4090 and I see that it's out hashing over half of an X12, you know, 12 GPU Octa miner at less less power, it really makes me want to destroy all those cards. But that just comes down to, obviously, you know, the way you want to run it. The big selling point for the CMPs right now is the fact that they are way cheaper. So now let's jump into what is the profitability of this GPU currently on ALEO. So if we come into here, it's looking like hashrate.no numbers are pretty close, almost exact, based on my spreadsheet here. So if I come in, you can see based on my hash rate, I currently have an average of about 6.93. I should be getting about 4.31 coins. And just to confirm that, you can see right here that in the past 24 hours, I did get pretty much exactly 4.31 coins for 6.93 mega hash. So I got my spreadsheet pretty much, exactly to where it should be. So I'm pretty happy for that. It did take a lot of work, but we got it figured out. So anyway, coming forward, we're looking at the current price of ALEO now, $2.79. So I'm just going to come in and make sure this is right. So it went down 1 cent here, so nothing major, 271. And now our hash rate was, we just got to scroll back down here because I forgot, coming into what our 24-hour average was on the efficient. So we do have 231 kilohash. So 231. Scrolling up here, and we're going to put in my hash rate of 0.231. So it's looking like this GPU by itself is currently mining about 0.1437 ALEO per day, and that works out to be about 40 cents. Obviously, I'm holding on to my coins. Some people have been asking me, where are you dumping your ALEO and stuff like that? But remember, guys, around January, we're expecting ASICs from Bitmain and some other pretty large companies. And usually when that happens, we see a pretty nice price pump. So I'm hoping this coin does at least $6 again. So if we look at $6 ALEO that's possibly 86 cents here for this GPU. That's actually not too bad. That is before power, so you're gonna have to calculate your own power costs into that, but that's actually not too bad. See, now GPUs have been looking pretty darn rough over the past 3 years. So we're actually nice to see a little bit of profitability right now and coming in at a nice cheap GPU price point. All right, guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video. This is the real world hash rate that I did find for the CMP 100, 210. Let me know if you've been eyeballing these GPUs or trying to get your hands on them. They are getting pretty much out of stock very fast. Everyone has been pumping them a lot lately, so it's a very interesting GPU. Keep in mind, it is a mining GPU only. If you do plan on selling any of your hardware later on for upgrades or something, you're probably not going to be able to sell this one very easily, because the only people that would buy it is going to be other miners. So keep that in the back of your mind. Your other GPUs may be a lot easier to sell, get a higher price, and then possibly upgrade your farm to more efficient 5090s and stuff. But if you are looking for these guys, I will have that link down in the description to respec. You are going to have to trade in your GPUs for these things, so that's all something you may or may not want to do. But thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this GPU and ALEO down in the comments section, and let me know what coins you would like me to test this out on down below. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.